Well, here. So probably you have heard about many companies that are thinking about moving to being agile. There's quite many articles coming in different places nowadays where they are talking about why agile companies are successful. If you are a software company, you have heard about agile quite many times most likely, and probably you are even actually implementing in different ways some kind of agile ways of working. But for many companies, they have heard that agile is the future and is the way of working. So today we will try to look into when should you do agile and in which kind of processes does it make sense. So today we will talk about in very high level what agile is, when should you use it, and how does it compare to some of the traditional ways of working. Let's do this. So what is agile? Agile, what it tries to do is try to be an adaptive way of working. More traditional ways of working try to see what I want to achieve with a project and define it very granularly from the very beginning. What happens is, as always, trying to predict all the things that are going to be needed in order to achieve whatever you're going to achieve is always going to be difficult. So, but agile is different from other ways of working in the way that it doesn't try to separate the project in different phases, but it tries that most of the things happen continuously throughout the project. So throughout the project, it tries that teams work cross-functionally. Planning is not something that is only happening in the beginning of the project, but it's continuously happening during the project. It wants to deliver value to the potential users as soon as possible. So it wants to be delivering continuously instead of waiting for the whole project to be ready to be shipped out and start getting feedback then. And it also wants to be able to adapt to potential changes and requests from those potential users. So I want to actually adapt the journey as it goes. So if I know that the solution that I was pointing at in the beginning is not the correct one, I can start to steer it into a new direction that it actually fits better the problems that our users are trying to solve. When did it all start? It started back in 2001 when 17 software developers joined together to discuss on how to improve the ways of working. Out of this came the Manifesto for Agile software development. And they came up with this manifesto. So that was the basis of Agile, of the Agile Manifesto. And of course, this has been changing over time. And nowadays, you have many flavors of Agile, such as Scrum and Kanban. I'm a little afraid of saying safe because it might backfire. It might be something that some people don't appreciate so much or not consider Agile as such. The one that I like the most nowadays, kind of as a definition, what are the goals of Agile, is the Heart of Agile. The Heart of Agile tries to summarize the Agile processes in just 4 single steps. The first one is collaborate. Obviously, collaboration is key to be able to deliver a project. And Agile wants to emphasize that collaborate between the team members is key in order to find dependencies. And this doesn't mean just collaborating between a software engineering team, but it means that collaboration can happen cross-functionally. It can happen from the software engineering team all the way to marketing, support, documentation. So you want that everybody is aligned from the beginning, so they are able to identify dependencies and what is the impact of the work I'm doing. For example, as a software engineer, how is this going to impact the potential work that somebody in documentation is going to have to do later on. The next one is deliver. What Agile proposes is that you should be always delivering continuously value to your users. So don't hold to features, don't hold to value that you are creating or developing. Always expose it to your users as soon as possible so they can start using it and can start giving you feedback so you can adapt if needed. So these two first phases are probably the ones that most of the companies are covering to a certain degree when they talk about being agile. For me, the next ones are the ones that maybe people are overlooking and not taking so seriously when it comes to agile, but I think that are probably one of the most key features of agile, because agile, in a way, and to my understanding, what it tries is that this is an education process. and that you had to learn. It's not just that you know the ways of working, you will know how to work together, you will know how to deliver a project. Basically, it's just telling you that you shouldn't take things for granted and you should be always learning during your journey. The first one of these is reflect. For me, this is one of the key things of Agile, is how do you actually reflect on how you are working? And this is something that should happen often and as part of the cycle, not just once a year, for example, as many companies are doing. But it should be something that is part of your regular work. Okay, so during this previous period of time, call it a sprint or an iteration, whatever it is that you call it in your company, I have been doing this, and obviously some things have worked brilliantly and some other things have not quite worked. So try to look into what are the things that are working and try to promote them more in the future. And then what are the things that you should try? And this is one of the beautiful things about this reflect, is that the reflection time should be something where people feel safe to be critical of the process, and that it's not a finger pointing exercise. It's a moment where you want to see as a team what are the things that we could do better. And it's not a somebody didn't do this, but it's like we should focus more on doing this. So how can we improve the way that we work? And that leads us to the next one, improve. If you want to be agile, you really had to be willing to learn, which is a reflection, and you had to be able to adapt, which is the improve part. So when we try to improve, we can improve in pretty much anything that we think that it needs improving. So it can be things like organization-wise, something might not have been working, information is not flowing as it should. Somebody forgot to mention to marketing that they had to prepare some product content materials to promote the new products. And it can be also, of course, for example, technical details on how we have done an implementation and how we could do it potentially better in the future. The goal of this Heart of Agile is just to always do this cycle where you first promote collaboration within your team and across teams in the organization. You want to also be able to deliver often, and you want to reflect and learn from what you have done, and then you want to improve and adapt to potential changes that you might need in order to deliver your products. So Agile has been many times at least explained to me as something that it can be used for delivering projects, delivering big projects, delivering products, solutions. We are trying to work within our product team in an agile way. Let's say that we want to create a business case, like we have talked in different videos. What we want to do as a team is that we want to work together to define the business case. And this doesn't mean that we are working together all the time. But basically what we want to do is, as a team, we want to deliver a business case, have it ready, obviously. So how can we apply Agile in this process? So first of all, we had to collaborate. So we had to have everybody willing to work for the business case or review the business case, understand what we are trying to describe here. Then we want to deliver continuously. This might mean, in this case, just that we are putting this business case in a place that it's visible to everybody, and at some point we can ask for feedback on the business case. So we are just delivering the business case to the rest of the team. And we want to do this continuously, so it's potentially available all the time, obviously, which would be easier. Then we want to reflect. Basically, when we are talking here in reflection, what we want to get is feedback from the rest of the team on how the business case is being developed. Does it make sense? Are we looking for dependencies? And then we want to learn and we want to improve the business case, which means that we want to do changes based on that reflection that we are seeing. It's like somebody has given me the feedback that, hey, you haven't looked into what is going to be our efforts to develop this idea. So we had to go and sit down potentially together, collaborate, and look into what are the efforts that we need to do, for example, in development or in marketing in order to get this business case done. In the end, there's many tasks that can be done in an agile way. So agile is not something that it's only for development teams, but it's something that can be used in any team for tasks where you had to deliver something that it's basically new. And just a very quick one, Agile doesn't mean lack of focus. Agile also has to have a very good understanding of what it wants to achieve, which is your vision. What Agile is promoting is that the vision is clear doesn't mean that the journey is clear. And Agile is more about the journey to achieve that vision. But the vision has to be clear. It doesn't mean that Agile has to have lack of focus, or that Agile means that you can just be taking any new idea and changing directions all the time. So when should you use Agile? It's something that you should use when you're trying to achieve something new that you have not done before. So examples of where you could use Agile is when you are trying to deliver a new product. Probably you have to learn your path as you go. You have to walk the journey and learn while you are doing it. There are going to be some cases where Agile is not that necessary, and these are going to be cases like when there are repetitive tasks, and you can think about manufacturing. For example, when you are building cars, your process to build a car is going to be probably the same for hundreds of thousands of units and potentially even millions of units. You know that to build a car I had to take this body, take this chassis, put this different type of tires. So I just want to plan how these different items flow into the production line. But as such, you're not going to be changing the process. You know how your process is going to work. So Agile I would recommend more like for running new projects or finding new products and developing, executing them and delivering it to your users. Whereas I wouldn't use Agile in tasks that are more repetitive in nature. And if you compare Agile to more traditional project management ways of working, such as waterfall, where are the differences between Agile and those ones? Well, of course, we already talked about Agile being adaptive, promoting continuous delivery, reflecting and improving during the process. More traditional project management styles are going to promote that teams work in silos, that there's handover tasks. So what do you think? When is it important to use Agile? Do you use Agile in your company at all? Do you even know what is Agile? Do you use Agile, especially if you're a software company, only for the development parts, but the rest of the company continues working on potentially more waterfall ways of working? Or do you have an organization that is fully Agile and cross-functional? Please comment below and let us know. So if you like the video and would like to see more, please subscribe and like the video. And as always, remember to stay safe.